Welcome back in, guys. Happy Monday. Pretty big weekend. 3 straight winning days. 5 of the last 6 in the green for up over 11 units. Pretty good start to the baseball season. Got a couple of dogs yesterday. Should have had 3 Washington Nationals. Lord give it, Lord take it. We had a nice comeback in the 9th the day before, and they blew one for us last night in the bottom of the 9th. Gave up 2 homers, 3 runs. We lose that one. Could have had the sweep, but we'll take the day in the green, Sean, and hopefully we can keep this rolling here. Nice little streak in the MLB going.
Yeah, it's a good first weekend of baseball to start. We like to start a little bit slow, some 1.5 unit bets, and we'll start stepping that up as we get into the second week, just to get a good read on some of the teams, some surprises, some just exactly what we expected. Rockies, A's, White Sox are abysmal. Somehow the Rockies did squeeze out a W, and A's got one out of 4, and Oakland got 1 out of 4 with Cleveland too. But that's how bad these teams are. The White Sox, a big, what are they, a 240 dog today at home. Actually, it's 265, depending on what you take back if you're dealing with FanDuel, MGM, and maybe you take back 210 or 220. The prices are ridiculous. That's one of the things I wanted to tell our guys again before we get started, especially for our new guys. Got a lot of new members. If you only have access to DraftKings, FanDuel, MGM, and not offshore books, and I am in no way telling you to bet illegally offshore, but if you only have access to those, there's going to be a big difference in the line. They're using 20-cent line. As soon as it gets to a certain point, it's 30 cents and then even 40 cents when you get to the bigger numbers. As, for example, DraftKings today, they've got the Braves lay 270, take back 220. That's a 50-cent gap. You cannot win. You cannot win when there's a 50-cent stretch in the middle. You take most of your other sports books, let's say Bet Online, you're looking at 260, take back 230, 30-cent gap. So you could say the difference was, we're talking about, I believe it was the Nationals game at one point. We took a number, I think it was plus 165 Saturday, and DraftKings was showing plus 150 because it was plus 150, plus 180. You're not going to get the numbers that we're getting if that's the case in baseball. So I just want to get that out there for the guys that are saying, oh, I can't find that number. I'm sorry. These are the numbers in the offshore sports books that if you were to bet, that would be available, not at DraftKings. Well, DraftKings, DraftKings, I would say where DraftKings was great for the NBA, they weren't this year. They were great the year before when they were opening first and we were pillaging their line. They were opening their line 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the day before the games. And now they've let Bet Online take the lead and they open first. And that's why going forward, whoever opens first will be making our bets, and we'll send that out. Now, I know a lot of guys might not have Bet Online available. If you don't, if you can get it, you're going to want to get it because whoever opens first, that's where you're going to take advantage of the numbers. So DraftKings was great last year. This year, they've been opening much later in the day, letting somebody else open first, sometimes not even open until last night. They didn't have any games on the board till the nighttime. So we'll be sending out when whoever's the first to open what our bets are. Again, all I can give you are my bets, at what number we took them and how much. The rest is up to you if the line moves. Today, everybody should have got all 3 of our games. Although the we did have a little issue, maybe the Hawks game, and I'll tell you why. We had somebody in the chat say, because I sent out 2 bets Saturday night on the same line. It was getting close to 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock game time with Cubs and Yankees. And unfortunately, they saw just the loser and not the winner. Guys, open those notifications up. There might be something underneath. But today I didn't want to do that. I gave one notification, which was the Pelicans plus 1.5 minus 115. And I should have gave you both of them as I was giving Hawks +3, it moved a little bit to +3, -15. So hopefully everybody got those two bets. Pelicans are now a 1.5-point favorite. It's about the numbers. It's about the numbers. It's about the numbers. Beat the number, you'll beat the game, and that's what we do. So anyway, off to a nice start with baseball. We'll pick it up as we go. We bet one game today, obliterated the number, as we always do. And I guess let's talk about that game right now, Ben. I'm not going to go through the whole Major League Baseball card, but we'll talk about this game and then touch upon what we saw in the weekend.
Yeah, we were in every single Reds game this past week against Washington. We faded them all 3 games, got the money once, had that tough beat yesterday, lose a little bit in that series. And we're coming back now this time with Cincy at Philadelphia. Cincy, like I said yesterday, they come back in the 9th off Finnegan. You get Benson, who hits the 2-run homer, Encarnacion Strand. He hits the walk-off. We'll see if that rolls in a little bit of momentum heading into the series with the Phillies. Yeah, the Phillies yesterday, they pull out a nice comeback win against Atlanta. They sat all the lefties, Harper, Stott, and Marsh. They're coming back today. And pitching matchup, Abbott versus Sanchez. I'm very excited what we're going to get out of Abbott this season. Last year, he was elite at the start, 10 starts, 6-2, 1.90 in his rookie season. But then the last back end of the season, his final 11 starts, over a 6 ERA. Kind of seemed that he got figured out. Interested to see now after another offseason how he's adjusted, how things are going to look. And then for Sanchez, he had a quality start versus the Reds last year. He did have some rough home numbers and was roughed up in the spring. As far as the matchup history, Philly, they have taken care of business at home, but there's a big price for the pitching edge is likely with Abbott today, John.
It was a big price. It was too big of a price. The price now, look, the price now is what it should be. This game opened 142 on the overnight and exploded overnight, and we took plus 148 with the Reds this morning. The best you could take on this game now. Buckeyes got plus 131. Circus got plus 131. Jazz 132. But more or less 127, 128 is the real take back. So we're all over the Reds in this one. Reds absolutely crushed the ball. Got it. Nationals pitching. I'm going to give Philly a little bit of a pitching edge here with Sanchez over Abbott. They are the better team, just not this much better. Again, same thing as we're going to say about the Dodgers consistently this year. Yep, better team, better pitcher, better this, but not belonging to be a 220 favorite or a 240 favorite, whatever the case may be. And that was the case in this game. Plus 148. There was a lot of value there with a Cincy team, I believe, batted 327 this weekend. Bats are hot, and at that number was definitely worth the price. And that's all it is, guys. It's worth the price. Again, we want you guys to think of each game as part of 162 games. How many games? Cincy is over a 500 team on the road. So when you're giving that a price like this, it's just not Philly, not in this matchup. Nola, Wheeler on the mound, different story, not with Sanchez. Anyway, plus 148 on Cincy. Only problem that we do have there, weather. That could be a rain out. It's an ugly day out in Philly. So we'll see if we get that one. And we'd like to get that one in because we definitely have the edge in that one.
Yeah, guys, not going to be going through the full slate of baseball. If you guys want all the information on the baseball games, make sure you sign up on the app or our website, massaedge.com, or download the Massa Edge app. Can talk a little bit about what just went down, John, in this first weekend of baseball games, kind of what we saw. You got 4 undefeated teams left right now: Milwaukee, Detroit, the Yankees, and slipping on the Pittsburgh. Again, Pittsburgh last year. They got off to a hot start last year. Yeah, so the expected suspects, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Detroit Tigers, undefeated starts to the season. Yankees bullpen was phenomenal in that series against Houston. Dodgers, the 4-2 start. Mookie, he's been on an absolute tear. And some of these other teams. Baltimore, they let one slip yesterday. One other game I guess we should touch on today, a little bit of playoff revenge, John. Rangers and Rays going on. Interested to see what we get out of that with Tampa Bay going today. They snab Pepoit from the Dodgers last season, pitched a couple of seasons as a spot starter. Playoff revenge. We talk about it all the time. Texas, they had a bad loss yesterday. Got to assume they're going to be without a closer today as well in this revenge game.
Yep, would have to like Tampa Bay and nobody, but the line was minus 110 on the overnight. That got hit right away. It's up to minus 119, pretty much where I think the line should be. Texas bats. The only reason I bet against Texas yesterday was Seager being out of the lineup. That was enough for me to go with the Cubbies, and glad we did. But this Texas team, they can hit. They don't play as well on the road. And Tampa Bay, great at home. A phenomenal start last year at home. We don't expect that from them this year. They're not the same team. They split the first 4 games with Toronto. So price is right where I think it should be right now. Minus 110, maybe a little low. But Tampa Bay or nobody in the home revenge. Dunning did pitch a good game against them last year. They beat Tampa Bay 3-2, but that was in Texas. This one will be in Tampa Bay. Now, Texas did win both games at Tampa Bay in the wild card round, so we got to give Texas their due and their credit. But as Ben said, after getting lit up, they'll be without their relief pitch today. Let's see who. I absolutely want to make sure Seager's back. I'm guessing it was just a day of rest, but a day of rest this early in the season. Yeah. I don't like the way that sounds, so you got to keep an eye out for Seager. No Seager, you could look a little bit more Tampa Bay's way. What I'll be looking for today is for you get the unbeaten teams, and then you get the, I guess call them unwon teams. Yep. Mets at home against Detroit. You get the Marlins. Actually, the Marlins don't play. You get the Mets home at Detroit. Houston Astros at home against Toronto. These teams, I think the algorithms are going to say they can't lose a 5th one in a row and push over. And in the Mets' case, a 4th one in a row. And if they go any higher, it's both dogs. It's Toronto and nobody, and it's Tigers and nobody. Tigers don't hit, but they get good pitching. I could see Olsen hanging in there. Let's see what Manet is all about. Mets look like a mess. I mean, a mess against Milwaukee.
Horrible.
And Houston, that bullpen. What as good as the Yankee bullpen was, it's how bad the Astros pen was. I don't know how much you're going to get out of Blanco today. So look at Toronto, look in Detroit. We'll see where those lines go later on.
Just a few things I'm going to be looking at for the slate, not necessarily sides-wise, but some pitchers, because we're getting into that 4th, 5th day of games for some of these teams. Now you're starting to see some of these back-end pitchers, guys like Flexen for the White Sox, who was terrific in 21, 22, a complete bet-on guy, horrendous last year for the Mariners and the Rockies. McKenzie.
Bear in mind, some of that was at Colorado Coors Field, though.
Yep, of course. McKenzie, another one for Cleveland. He was elite in his sophomore season in 2022. Only made 4 starts last year, had a bunch of injury issues. Can he come back to being that guy? Interested to see what he looks like. Dunning for the Rangers. I mean, he was one of their guys last year that gave them great innings out of nowhere. Can he replicate that? So a lot of these
and they finished him in the bullpen, though, in the playoffs.
Yep. Came out of the pen a little bit. So see what that guy can do. Waka, he's coming off another career year in San Diego. Is that going to translate? A lot of these back-end guys. James Paxton, another one for the Dodgers, kind of just a flyer until Kershaw comes back. What are these guys going to look like as far as being bet on for the rest of the season? So interested to see some of these back-end guys, John.
Sharp's already buried San Fran today. That game opened 210, down as low right now is to 190. Look, again, every day it's going to be against Dodgers or nobody. Yeah. I wasn't crazy about it in this spot. This is also the Sunday night game, so they had a later start, but they didn't travel. And Wynn, in his last start last year, Wynn was a rookie last year, he got beat up by the Dodgers. 6 runs, I believe, in 5 1/3 innings. So he got pretty beat up. I wouldn't want Wynn in this spot, but again, it's San Fran and nobody. Dodgers and overlay every day. Now the line sitting right now is about the right number.
So you guys got a free bet for today's MLB slate. If you guys want to get those bets at the best number, make sure you sign up on the app. And any other MLB bets we get added throughout the rest of the day, do that as well. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA, John. Crazy weekend as always in this league. I mean, they don't even play there. Can we just start with the Lakers? LeBron last night, 9 of 10 from 3. I mean, what?
Is he still shooting better after last night? I'm sure he is. Better than Steph Curry from 3?
Yeah, better than Steph Curry.
How old is this guy? 143. It's just what you guys are witnessing. I mean, really, for the LeBron haters, you call him a bitch with the flop and this and that, but you cannot knock what this guy's doing at this stage. It's crazy.
Absolutely ridiculous. You got this Dallas Mavericks team who took care of business
Did you see Luka's fucking underhand flip
I mean, between him and Kyrie, yeah.
This guy, look, Mavs. Everybody out west better worry about the Mavs. They're just playing. They are red hot. And with this, in the same breath, I could see Houston maybe just shot their load. That win streak, tough one at Utah the night before, which we actually had the Jazz, and now just fell flat in that comeback home. I think that might be it for them. But Dallas are going to give people problems out there.
Absolutely.
Luka and Kyrie, two of your top scorers in the NBA. I always said I liked what they added right before the break. Gafford and PJ Washington needed some size. They got it. They're looking real good.
With the top three teams in the West, OKC, Minnesota, and Denver, Jamal Murray's battling injuries, Shai's battling injuries, Cat, he's out. I mean, you just have the top three. That middle pack of the West, I mean, you have some of these teams playing their best ball of the year right now. Obviously, Dallas being one of them, the Lakers being one of them, Phoenix been playing a little bit better. Clippers, another one of these teams on the downside. So we keep saying it all season long, this Western Conference is open. And with all these injuries, it's just becoming that much more. I mean, we're going to have a great Western Conference playoffs.
Yeah. Like I said, scary that the 9-10 game is Golden State Lakers right now. I mean, that looks like it's going to be it. I don't see either of the teams falling down. You know what? I can't say that. Sacramento now without Monk, they got a bad break for you guys that don't know. They'd already lost Kevin Huerter, and now you're going to lose Monk. They got the Jazz last night, so they beat a Jazz team that's already given up. No Clarkson, no Markkanen, no Collins. But could they? What do we got? Game and a half. Lakers are a game and a half behind Sacramento, but Sacramento owns, and I mean has owned the Lakers, so they've got the heads up, so they'd have to actually take that over. But 9-10 game between Golden State, Sac, or a 9-10 game between Sac, Golden State, a run back of last year's playoffs. The two teams, Golden State's always been the bigger brother to the little brother Sacramento. They're right across the highway there, so some great stuff going on, and in the East, man. I just like I said, it's Milwaukee with the slimmest of chances, I feel, and Boston. The rest of the teams, especially banged up Cavs. Mitchell, he ain't looking right. He's back 2 games now, and he just does not look right. 7 for 25, something like that, in the 2 games he's back. The Knicks, they look like they get right. Just got Mitchell Robinson back. He didn't play yesterday against OKC. Going to be questionable tomorrow. OG's still not back. So they're dealing with some injuries. So you get some good teams like Indiana, Orlando. They broke through their playoff teams, but they're not going to challenge anybody. I'm going to challenge the Celtics. So to me, it looks like it's the Celtics and whoever comes out of the West. And Denver's got a problem without Jamal Murray. Now, they got by, not that they got by. They blasted Cleveland after a couple of home losses. They needed to get that one, but that just brings them right down to the pack without Murray. It's a jump ball. I see a jump ball in the West.
Yep. So I know we got a message or a question in the chat yesterday about how often NBA bets. We did not have any NBA bets yesterday. We have a couple today because we have a couple of competitive games today. A lot of this point of the season is just nasty, gross NBA games. That's what we have on this top game.
That, and a lot of it is the getting ready for baseball. That's tough. This is why I tell people I don't mess around with college basketball just too much. It would absolutely take up all your time. You cannot do anything else, and you can't even do college basketball right. So this was a little tough. Where we've got everything we need now going forward. You'll see as of today, like I said, we have bets in both sports.
Yep, and the top game here, let's run down this NBA slate for you guys. Blazers at Magic, another one of these games where how could you want to back Portland? They're coming off a 60-point loss. They're sitting 4 of their 5 top players. They've lost 9 in a row. They have covered 3 of those. And then you have this Magic team, who's the best home team in the NBA against the spread, or maybe second now behind Houston. Then you have, as far as matchup history, Blazers, a little bit of success going to Orlando, but this is not the same Portland team. So I can't want to back, as big as this number is, can't want to back this Blazers team, John. No,
and just get beat by 60. Do they show up? Everybody, anybody that's there is a pro. You got beat by 60. You want to come and have a game of that next game. Orlando just won by 30 over Memphis. So do they ease up on the gas a little bit? Does Portland play a little harder? It's a huge number. Orlando, maybe it's a game, like I says, that they just take their foot off the gas. To me, it's Portland or nobody, even though, but do I want to get involved with a team that just lost by 60 against a team that won by 30?
Nope. It's going to be tough to want to back some of these bad teams in the back end. We got Nets at Pacers in this next one. First of all, home and home. You have this Nets team coming off that Lakers loss last night. A little 3-game win streak before that. This Nets team absolutely abysmal on the road. No interest in backing them outside of Brooklyn. You got a really big number on this game. Indiana still playing for seeding purposes, obviously. It's a game I expect the Pacers to win. I just don't know if they're going to be able to cover double digits. It's Pacers or nobody in my eyes. No interest in Nets on a back-to-back, who is one of the worst road teams against the spread in the NBA.
Yeah. Nets went down big to the Lakers yesterday, and then they kind of got back in the game at the end when they were out of the game just to make it the score a little closer. Brooklyn's been horrible on the road all year. They got a couple of wins. A couple of road wins on that last trip, beating a Toronto team that's absolutely decimated, and then needing overtime to beat the league worst home team, Washington, in Washington. So they've won their last 2 games, which gives them somewhat of a respectable road, but that's not who they are. They're terrible on the road. They don't play well in back-to-backs. Here's a game Indiana should cruise. They beat them by 21 just a couple of weeks ago at home. And they're 7-1, the last 7-1 against the spread, the last 8 meetings. Big number. This game opened up 9.5 quick and then came off the board. And then after the Nets got beat last night, they came out higher. It's sitting at 12.5 now. That's the right number. And again, when I say 12, I could see them beating them by 22, but I could see the Nets backdooring it by 9 also. That's why it's not a play. For us, we've got to feel that 58 to 60% or better that the Pacers are going to win this game in a blowout to want to lay that kind of points. So I think the number's right. It's another game we'll be laying off. And again, Brooklyn could only sit people at this time of the year in a back-to-back. It won't be Bridges. He never sits out, but it could be somebody else in a back-to-back. We'll see how that goes.
And our third straight double-digit line tonight. Celtics at Charlotte. One of the best team in the NBA versus one of the worst teams in the NBA. Ironically, Hornets did get them earlier this season in Charlotte in an overtime win. Celtics are coming off a win at New Orleans on Saturday. Hornets, they've just been, we can't get them at the right price. We can't get them on the right game. We bet them, they lose, they don't cover. We don't bet them, they win outright or they do cover. So we're probably going to be staying away from the Hornets today, which probably means you guys should be betting it, but no bet for us on this game with Charlotte against Boston, John.
Yeah, they've just been that team right now. No interest in this game at all. First of all, we don't know who the Celtics are definitely going to sit some people. Absolutely. Brown, Porzingis, both questionable right now. I am assuming that they're going to sit. Boston just getting ready for the playoffs, and they got shocked a couple of games in Atlanta in that mode, but then went to New Orleans, made a statement, took a win. Just can't. I know this is what we call a revenge game. I don't know that Boston's getting up for the Charlotte Hornets at this part of the year. So look for Porzingis more than likely sitting. Brown is definitely a question mark. We'll see who's playing for them. Charlotte, really one of the worst teams in the league right now, and they're back to back. So going to be a tough spot for Charlotte, but that's why the number is 17. No interest in this one.
We got Grizzlies at Detroit. Grizzlies, they've been playing this shorthanded team longer than anybody throughout this season. Obviously, with all the injuries earlier in the year, they're still looking like that. Bane, he's come back for a few games. He's out tonight. For the Pistons, Cunningham, he's questionable. Detroit actually plays a bit better without him in the lineup. Memphis, they won the last 5 meetings, 4-0-1 against the spread. I lean to the Grizzlies in this one. They've been playing pretty solid on the road this year, but their team not playing good ball right now. They've lost 3 straight by a combined 67 points. This would be Grizzlies or nobody, but I mean, you got 2 of the worst teams in the NBA depleted here back end of the season. Do you really expect them to show up for this game? It's hard to really know. Memphis or nobody, but there's better action on the card today.
Memphis has pretty much owned the series, but this is a completely different Memphis team. And we're not even – Bane's not even going to play. He'd come back. Remember, You're missing Smart. You're missing Ja. Bain was out for much of the season. He's come back, but he's been in and out. He's going to miss his second straight game. No reason in sending these guys out there. So who knows? I think Memphis has had 30-some-odd players actually play minutes for them this year. And that's ridiculous. Detroit, not much better. Cunningham, they're listing him questionable now every day as a possible rest. These are the games you can't get involved in unless right at post time. This team's got all their guys. This team's sitting all their guys, and that's the only way I'll get involved in one of these games. And other than that, we'll pass this one. The next two games are two reasonable games, and that's why we got bets on each of the two of them.
Yeah, guys, this is where we get some competitive basketball. No more double-digit lines here. We got Hawks at Chicago. This is a big game for seeding purposes. Actually, both these next two games are. Hawks currently a game and a half back of the Bulls in that 10-9 spot, looking to get home court advantage for that first play-in game. Atlanta, they've been playing pretty good without Trae Young. DeJounte Murray been stepping up. They're 4-1. They went 4-1 on the homestand. Bulls, I mean, could you have a bigger letdown? They go into Minnesota last night, one of the top teams in the NBA, beat them on their home floor. You got some big nights from Caruso and DeRozan. It's tough to want to back the Bulls here in this spot, and that's part of why we aren't looking at the Atlanta Hawks here, who have not had the most success at Chicago, John. But this is just more so a spot play for two teams battling for seeding here.
So perfect spot play. Normally wouldn't bet this because Bulls have won and covered 4 of the 5 meetings in Chicago. They've won both meetings this year. But the spot, you can't overlook the spot. Atlanta in the 10th spot. Bulls ahead of them in the 9th spot. Remember, the 9 and 10 teams play that first playing game with the 9 team getting the home court. The Hawks don't win this game. The rest of their season will mean absolutely nothing. They'll be the 10th seed. So they got to come for this game. Now you put onto that, Bulls are coming off a huge win at Minnesota. Caruso 7 for 8 from 3, and they went 17 for 29, 58.6% from 3. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that's not going to happen again today. And, we had to take the Hawks +3 in this one. And, again, that game down to 2 now.
And then the last game on this NBA slate, we have the Suns and the Pelicans. Pelicans currently tied with Dallas in the 5-6 spot in the West. Then you have the Suns, who are 2 games behind them, currently in the 8th seed. The Suns been on a long trip here, 5th game, 10-game trip. And they have such a brutal schedule the rest of the way still to go. A couple of games with the Clippers, another one with the Pelicans, another one with Sac, another with Minnesota. Their first game back of the homestands, Cleveland. And that's their easiest game they have the rest of the way. So a really, really tough homestand coming up here for the Suns. It's been a really tough road trip. Pelicans, they're coming off this loss to the Celtics on Saturday. The Stars played their games on, and CJ, rest of the team, not so much. Kind of what happens when Ingram goes out. Those other guys going to get more shot opportunities. Sometimes that works out. Sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how they look in this matchup here today. But again, another scheduling spot, some revenge here for the Pelicans, who are going to be catching a pretty tired Phoenix team on the end of a trip here, John.
Last of a 10-day trip for Phoenix. While Pelicans have been at home, they did lose to the Celtics the other night, but no travel. Also, home revenge. Suns put it on them 123-109 earlier in the year. Last year, the team split 4 meetings, each winning 2 at home. I expect more of the same. I mean, this is a huge game for both teams here.
Huge.
Both teams are coming with their game. And that's why we're trying to stay away from the teams where neither team means anything. It's just tough to gauge. But here, you got Pelicans right now tied with the Mavs for that 5th and 6th spot. Remember, the top 6 teams avoid the play-in. Right now, Phoenix not only tied with the Sacramento Kings for that 7-8 play-in, but again, just a game and a half ahead of the Lakers to drop to the 9-10, which now you've got to win 2 playing games to get to the playoffs. And as Ben said, Phoenix has the toughest remaining schedule left. Huge game for Phoenix, big game for Pelicans. Pelicans home revenge. Phoenix lasted a trip. We're on the Pelicans. We sent that out this morning at +1.5. And what do you know? Pelicans are now a 1.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a situation, too, with the Lakers. They catch the Suns as of Wednesday because they get a back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday, but against 2 of the worst teams in basketball, the Toronto Raptors, Washington Wizards. And a game and a half back now, that loss with Phoenix, couple of wins, they can make that ground up quick. So we'll see. This is a big game for everybody involved in this Western Conference playoff race. Lakers trying to catch them. Kings banged up, trying to hold on. 2 bets out in the NBA, 1 in the MLB. Appreciate all you guys who tune in. And as always, if you guys want us to continue bringing you guys all this information, we do. Like, comment, subscribe below. Help us come back.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button.
Yeah, just like that. Careful with your finger there, John. Don't mess it up any worse on us.
Bad finger over here. I'm working the ice on this. Little accident putting the dumbbells back in the weight rack that it didn't work out too well for me this weekend.
Yep, hopefully we can get his finger back all right. Still sharp as a knife. We're getting things
I'm
done.
day-to-day like the fucking rest of the NBA right now. I'm day-to-day, guys.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. John, I don't know if you have anything else. Other than that, we got a lot of card of games to get to.
We got a shitload of stuff. Look, we would love to come on 5 days a week. With the amount of work right now, Major League Baseball just starting, NBA winding down and going to the playoffs, a lot of work to do. Make it worth our while. Give us a like, drop a comment, and let's just throw you more good news. Just getting this information in. Jalen Johnson, he's missed the last 5-6 games for the Hawks. He'll be in the lineup tonight, so that's going to help out our Hawk bet against the Bulls. We're going to wrap it up. A lot of work to do, Ben. Let's make some money.
Let's make some.